10-1, they win the game.
That is...
You wouldn't even bet a 10-1 horse.
No.
Like, and it's horses.
No, I would expect a 10-1 horse to maybe die in the race. I don't know. So I don't think the Saints
you might put them in the DK horse exacta box.
I don't know that they're in peril coming here, but
to win straight up, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus 1,000.
I would want Bills. I'd want to pour that into my parlay and look at it and hopefully be reasonable enough to go, okay, no, that's ridiculous. Why do you want to lose this bet?
The Bills are to win this game Sunday to go to 4-0 at FanDuel, your buddies. #Bulldog / promo code. Minus 1,800. $180 wins you $10. Who has that kind of money?
No.
If you're so sure they're going to win, you put $180 US on the Bills to win the game. You win 10. You get 190 back if you're right.
That is not a rewarding exercise
That's
at all.
That's the biggest favorite. They're the biggest favorite so far easily in the league this year. And it may stay that way. 16.5. It's only Tuesday. What's going to change? The Saints trade Kamara tomorrow? Like, what's going to change?
I'm sure we've had other years where there have been numbers approaching that or even exceeding that. Otherwise, I think we'd be hearing about it being some kind of a record, and I haven't heard any of that. But wow, that's just such a massive. It's a huge number.
It's not a record, but like yesterday, I had the list of 14-point Bills lines where they were favored since 21. Like the last four, there have been 10 games in 4 years where they've been favored by at least 14 points.
And they've won the majority of those games, but they've not done great covering. I think I remember from you running down that list.
They were like 5-5.
Right, as far as covering goes, yeah.
When was the last time in this series, Buffalo, New Orleans, that the home team won in their own stadium? That's too hard, right? The trick is the line in their own stadium. Because the last time, well, no, that's actually wrong. All right, never mind. It's 2013. The Saints did, because they had the game in the Alamo Dome, the Terrence McGee halftime kickoff game,
right, okay.
But that's longer ago.
Yeah.
2013, New Orleans beat the Bills 35-17. Since then, in 17, the Saints won here by 1 million.
Yeah, that was...
And the Bills won there on Thanksgiving night, also by a lot, when Trey White got hurt.
And that's it since that game in 13?
Those are the only 2 times they've played.
All right.
Since then. They're not aligned where they'd play the extra game against each other because they both were, well, for this, in actual terms, the Saints would have had to win their division because the Bills always win their division. So that's not happened.
Right.
So when, Tampa Bay has won that division like 4 years in a row, actually. So the Thanksgiving game is their last game. Before that is the game in Buffalo where the Saints beat the Bills 47-10 and everybody left, and it was just a disaster.
Right.
And then they go to San Diego after that.
5 picks in the first
Peterman.
half. And
they benched Tyrod for Peterman after this game.
Yep.
And before that is, I guess it's Manuel against Breeze. So, yeah, all right. Well, there's some trivia you won't need.
So the game Sam Cowart got hurt in isn't that many meetings with the Saints ago.
Right. It's 6 games ago.
Really, right. So that game stands out in my mind.
After that is San Antonio.
Right.
After that is a game here early in the season. The Bills beat the Bucs in 2009 to start a season, and then they played New Orleans and lost. Then it's the game I'm talking about. Then it's the blowout here. Then it's New Orleans Thanksgiving night.
Okay.
That's all there is.
All right.
With the Saints. I've been to 2 Bills Saints games, and one of them is the game where we lost big, and the other, Ken Stabler was the quarterback for New Orleans.
Wow.
Yes. Anybody at that game? 1983.
So you weren't there for John Forcade?
I've been to 4 Bill Saints games.
I thought I remembered you saying you were at that game.
I forgot to wear socks.
I needed to nudge you in there. Yeah, okay.
I forgot to wear socks. I've been to 4 because I was at the Cowart game too. 01 opener. Mm-hmm. Right? I've been to 4 Bill Saints games. Yes, 1983. Bum Phillips Saints. Ken Stabler against the Bills.
That is some high style right there.
That is. You're so right.
What time of the year was that? Was
early?
Oh, okay. So
it was sunny.
Probably wasn't in some big Marlboro Man coat with a big furry collar or anything.
I was on the other side. I was 11, and it was October 30th, 1983. I don't know what he wore. I forget. I can't know everything. Yeah. I don't remember what Bum Phillips wore, but I do remember being there.
If that game was in December, I think I got a better look at him. In a big, just a big, heavy cowboy jacket type thing.
I have a ball from that game.
The game in '83.
I do. The word Saints is spelled on the laces, and I don't remember how I came to own this ball. It was through my parents. I'm pretty sure. But I have a ball. It could use some air at this point.
You got to get one of them needles.
But it's an official Pete Rozelle.
You still sell those needles?
The needles? I don't know.
You get those at a
You can't buy a needle
store
anymore. On the black market you can buy it. But really it's tough. 1983,
Dark
Saints
web.
is spelled. We've got the whole week.
All right.
Maybe I'll bring it in and we'll put it on the Twitch and you can see the Saints ball.
If you've got a ball that came somehow from that game, you need to have the story of how you came to have it.
I know.
Otherwise, what's the point of even having the ball? I have this ball. I don't know.
I know. It was not.
What good is that?
It was not a ball I acquired at the stadium.
Okay.
It was like my dad knew somebody.
Somebody did business with your parents or something, and they said, you got a son here. Maybe you'd like a football.
That's how we came to own everything we ever owned.
Bartering.
Was bartering for gold through my dad. Yes. So, all right. 1983.
It used to work all right.
Congrats on your 2 touchdowns, Mike Mosley, for the Bills in that game.
Wow.
Do you want to rip through the power rankings?
Fine. I'm always prepared if we've whatever we're doing here has run its course.
Has it ever?
Zach has no microphone.
Really?
Can
you sign?
So
No, I think that was the sign for no.
So I have a feeling that if you didn't hear his update, there was technical difficulties there.
We didn't hear his update.
We didn't hear it. I'm
Nobody
assuming
heard
out there, you folks out there didn't hear it either. There was just dead air for a minute and a half to start the show. Anyway, we're here.
1 for Tennessee, 2 for Cleveland. Okay, time now for the reverse AFC Power Rankings, powered by Empire Electric, your residential neighborhood electrician. Visit empireelectricians.com. All right, that works.
That's good. It's not as important as Zach, but it's next. The buttons. I need the buttons.
Do I want the 83 standings or do I want the current standings? I mean,
who needs standings? These are power rankings.
Right, no, that's fair. I didn't need
I have the standings open just so I don't forget teams.
But I do kind of want to know, I want to read the room on the AFC right now and just like how smooth a ride it looks. Today is September 23rd. Here we go. Reverse AFC Power Rankings. 16.
I'm inclined to go back to Tennessee.
Me too.
The coach is bailing out on play calling. It's 3 games with your prized rookie number 1 overall quarterback, and that just sounds like the first step to his demise to me. Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
Brian Callahan, Bill's his dad, sorry.
Who's also on the staff.
Right. That just seems like it's not going well. It's definitely not going well, but that seems like a sign toward you're not long for this.
I mean, imagine you've got the number 1 overall pick, and 3 games in, the head coach says, "I'm turning over play calling duties to an assistant." What a bad sign.
Right.
Tennessee, I agree. Minus 43 point differential through 3 games. Tied with the, Saints for the worst mark in the NFL. 15.
I'm going to go Jets here. I just don't think there's much good happening there. Any idea that Justin Fields was going to make something happen there? I mean, he lasted a week and a half. Taylor, that'll work.
All right.
So I think, who do I... it always depends on how you want to do it. What do they look like? Who would you want to be moving forward? I don't think either of those are very kind to the Jets right now.
Last week in this segment, you were hoping, I think, to make history.
Yes.
14. I'm going to take a shot at making some history by probably proposing the first place team ever to be nominated this early. Cincinnati. Tied for first at 2-1. I would not want to be Cincinnati for anything right now. Go get Russell Wilson, people are saying online.
Uh-huh.
Sure, great.
That'll work.
I mean, maybe, you get that 7 seed or something. Can't block, can't play defense.
Can't run it. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'll run with you on that. We don't have a tie-breaking vote because Zach's gears and working. But anyway, I'm good with putting Cincinnati there.
Okay. First place Bengals, 14th. You're right, it's not the standings. 13th. Oof, wow, this is fun.
Yeah.
This week, this is fun. Browns? Dolphins?
I'm inclined to say Dolphins. I mean, I respect and appreciate the effort. I mean, they looked like a team that hadn't thrown in the towel by any means on Thursday night against the Bills, but it's another loss. And I still think whatever structural problems there are there with the coach are only going to get worse as the losses mount. So, they're not going to lose them all. I think they looked good enough on Thursday to, maybe reinforce that, but it's still not a good – it's going to get worse before it gets better there.
I want to pick someone else. I think I will go Cleveland. I mean,
what do we do now?
I don't know.
Zach is texting.
Is he? He's texting. He's right there. Just shout. Just yell it. I'm like 5 feet away from him. Just yell it. Cleveland. I didn't hear him, but I read his lips.
Okay.
Cleveland.
The mic was in front of his face. I couldn't read his lips. The angle.
That's your excuse.
You have a better approach angle to the green from where you are.
13 is Cleveland.
All right.
12. You're on Miami?
I'll stay on Miami here, yeah.
Houston. Houston.
Wow.
The vote is in. Houston at 12. What a disaster.
They pretty much, at this point, have got the two edge guys going, and that's it.
They gave Nico Collins a touchdown in a low-scoring game, and they still lost. Jacksonville. They gave him like a 50-yard walk-in touchdown, and they still couldn't. Houston still couldn't get there.
I saw. Oh boy, what was the stat?
I think Miami impressed here.
What's the length of time? They've got 3 games where they've thrown for 250 yards in their last 40?
It could be, yeah.
40 feels like too many, but for some reason I got 17 is the other number in my head that it is, and that doesn't seem like enough to make the point to me. I feel like it's 40 games. One of those is right. I'm sorry, but it's bad. It's everything's a struggle offensively for them.
Interesting moment here for a lot of these young quarterbacks. And I'll make a point later about running back, sort of an inverse point. But we loved Michael Penix. We loved Nix.
It's going great.
Worst quarterback in the league by some metrics through 3 weeks. We loved McCarthy. Did we love McCarthy? We never really loved McCarthy, but I think we were optimistic for McCarthy. He had the win in Chicago.
I got pretty excited about McCarthy.
And Stroud, wasn't he like rookie of the year? Amazing rookie story. Why didn't Carolina just pick C.J. Stroud instead of Bryce Young? Mm-hmm. Then there's Bryce Young, who last year was a big deal, and now this year, I don't know what changed, but that's 5 guys that people are way the other way on so far this season. Doesn't include everybody. Like May is 1 and 2, but I don't think he's sort of looked bad or anything. Did I mention Cam Ward? Didn't have last year, was rookie this year, but nothing good is happening there, really, it seems. All right, Houston at 12, 11. You're still on the Dolphins. We got to move it along. I'll just agree.
Thank you.
I do think they impressed here. I think they looked like the Dolphins have looked in the last 4 years.
I don't disagree. I just still think everything is going to fall in on that guy's head eventually. So they looked better. They looked better than, well, I mean, all the teams we've mentioned so far this week, I think. So there's that, but they still did lose the game. So.
10.
New England.
Sure. 9, Vegas.
Sure.
8, Jacksonville. Come on.
Yeah.
They could easily be 0-3 if they played a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
7, Pittsburgh. Shouldn't Pittsburgh always be 7, no matter what? Aren't they just sort of like permanently 7? Is there time for me to name a fantasy team permanently 7?
I feel like this could be a rule. Yeah.
Pittsburgh is permanently 7.
We like to be pretty much lawless with this exercise, but you could convince me that that's a good idea.
All right, just so we don't miss anything here, because this could get this is the rare occasion for the reverse AFC power rankings where things could get a little scrambly near the bottom. Who's left? Buffalo, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs. That's normal. Those are the bottom 6 teams most of the time. Since Indianapolis got pretty. 6.
Chiefs.
Yes. Second week in a row.
They were 6 last week?
They were.
All right.
They beat the Giants. Congrats. 5.
I'm going to say Denver.
Me too. Denver. 4.
Indianapolis.
No. Why? I think they're top 2. Really? Bottom 2. So, yeah, I do. I will say Ravens. Most points allowed, almost, in the league. Like, suddenly the Ravens, everybody's favorite, it includes me. I mean, I'm not averse to that philosophy. They can't stop anything. I mean,
my God, they've given up. Wow.
They gave up 2 95-yard touchdown drives last night at home.
Plus, the one was 98.
Both were higher.
Right.
96, whatever. Right.
The first one was 98. The other one, I think, was exactly 95, and it was aided by like a 72-yard run by Montgomery. The other one was like just a march. I mean,
feel free to make a stop.
Right.
I read they missed 20 tackles and the Lions missed none.
Wow.
In the game.
How many sacks did
7 sacks.
How in the world does that happen?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out watching it. Like, Jackson maybe was a half second slow based on whatever he was seeing down the field. I don't know. It's not like they're loaded with guys who can separate and make it easy for him, but he still gets away with it. He still gets out of there.
Right.
And last night he couldn't. I mean, I'm always sort of a little bit negative toward him being willing to run. They're tush push averse. I mean, first and goal with the 1, they have Derrick Henry, so they won't tush push. Like, Jackson is not going to sneak, and they got stuffed. So that 4th down debacle, which we've seen plays like that before from them.
Right.
Yeah, not good.
Not coming through on 4th down, compounded by losing 18 yards on the fumble. Like, you were at least leaving them at the 2-yard line. Not that they hadn't already driven 98 yards on you, but still, that was tough. Yeah.
I'm going to say Ravens at 4. How about a little humility, Ravens? Maybe stop punting. And we got to talk about Henry. Nice touchdown. 11 for 22 rest of the game.
Right.
And the week before against the Browns was much the same.
Yeah.
Did we see the last big game from Derrick Henry in week 1? I mean, what is that to say, right? It's a lot to say.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. But we'll save it. I can't wait to talk about it. because fantasy, last year got buried because all the old running backs, even going to new teams, killed it and never got hurt. Barkley is 3.3 yards per carry. Henry looks terrible. Fumbles all the time. Never fumbled. Now he fumbles every game.
Right.
And Connor gets hurt. This is what doesn't feel great to say it, but kind of was supposed to happen. Mixon isn't anywhere last year, but didn't happen last year. They all just
Smashed
buried me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Ravens at 4.
Okay, I'm fine.
Highest they've ever been, maybe. Or no, there were probably some of these days in the summer where I took a day off and you guys just sort of, I wasn't here to fly their flag.
I don't think that happened. I don't. I could go back and look, but I don't think they've ever been punished inappropriately just because you weren't here to protect them. I don't think that happened.
Okay. 3, Chargers.
I'm going Colts.
Colts. Zach pointed at Bulldog. Everybody. Theater of the mind.
Thank you, Zach.
2.
I'll go Chargers.
Got to. Can't not be the Bills. It can't not be the Bills at 1 right now. Agree? It can't not be.
Yeah. I mean, the track forward looks like a great ride.
That too.
Moving forward. Who do you want to be right now?
That too. But even to this point.
Just on the body of work alone.
How could it not? How could you put the Chargers at 1? Could you put the Chargers at 1? Could you? Colts? Maybe the Colts on performance.
Colts on performance, I could. They have only given up 56 points. They've scored 103. Those are both better marks than the Bills. The Bills giving up 71 and only have 102, so they're only down 1 there in the points for category. But still, it's more on pedigree. And I would say something similar about the Chargers too, which is why neither of them can be. When you get down to those are the last 3 teams, the Bills have to be 1.
Reverse AFC Power Rankings on WGR, powered by Empire Electric, your residential neighborhood electrician. Visit EmpireElectricians.com. We'll talk about the Ravens loss, Ravens and Chiefs in Week 4. If you want to jump in with us, please, 803-0550. Ross Tucker at 4 today. We've got another hockey game tonight, Sabres preseason game number 2, pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
This drive starts at the 21, down by 4. Hand off to Henry, and he gets it punched out. It's recovered by DJ Reed. Knocked out on the play by Aiden Hutchinson. And it's yet another fumble for Derrick Henry.
Joe Buck, last night, Detroit 38, Baltimore 30. Heavyweight bout. Good stuff last night. You wanted a fun Monday night game, you got it.
Big time, yep.
Baltimore, I mean, this is probably too harsh, blows it. Detroit was really good. Detroit would, they did anything they wanted on offense, fourth downs, run pass. I mean, very impressive. Ravens, a lot of highlights, but in the end, here we are again. Good team takes them down, 1-2. Baltimore at 1-2, at Kansas City at 1-2. Baltimore is a slight road favorite. What do you think?
I think the way both teams look right now, I might go looking for an alternative line and take Baltimore like -7 or something. I think Baltimore, people might be down on them because they screwed up a couple times last night. Henry's fumble again, that whole goal line sequence that we talked about during the power rankings that ends with Jackson fumbling it back to like their 20-yard line, or excuse me, the Detroit 20-yard line. But I still think the form they're in, they look still like a more dangerous team than the Chiefs to me. And I don't know that the Chiefs are capable of exploiting without Rice and Worthy still. We'll see. Maybe Worthy will have more of a chance this week because it's been sort of like right up to the weekend the last couple of weeks. So maybe he gets back. Either way, I don't think there's enough to threaten. I don't think they can do even what the Bills did to Baltimore or what Detroit did last night. They can't run the ball, Kansas City, so they're not going to be able to control the game that way. And I don't know, I don't think the Chiefs can threaten them offensively the way that Detroit and Buffalo did. So I would like Baltimore in the game.
I just have a tough time detaching from what has become, I think, part of the Ravens rep, which is that as good as they might be, and they're everybody's favorite, like every year, this is a great team, Super Bowl pick,
best
everything
roster
like that,
in football,
all of that,
yep.
With the Eagles, like they get that kind of credit. Analytics department, roster construction, they always get all the credit. But maybe it's just too close to last night, or even week one. But I've seen them go to Kansas City before. They lost in overtime once. I mean, it's just the playoff game was in Baltimore. I'm having a tough time getting past this one big mistake or two or three they make that the Chiefs, really don't make. The Chiefs right now they're just not really functional on offense. But it's not like they're giving away points.
They're still careful. Yeah.
Yeah, they're smart. I mean, they're not. They beat the Giants because they avoided this. I mean, the Giants weren't good and the Chiefs weren't that good, but they got through the game winning because they didn't give the Giants, free points, right? They didn't mess it up. And I just kind of feel like Baltimore is having a tough time avoiding that. So I'm not ready to just pick Baltimore yet because I think it's interesting that they're favored. They already were, and I wondered how last night might affect that. Because I think if there's, not to make it a betting point, but I feel like right now the public is seeing the Ravens the way I am. This idea that they blow the most leads, but they have the most leads. What happened in Buffalo? That they're just sort of a team that's vulnerable when they're ahead. And then last night, what do you see from last night's game? You might see Montgomery running wild. You might see Jackson, floundering on that 4th and 1. I don't know why they needed to rush that. I tweeted this, and maybe this can be debated. Henry gets stopped 3 plays in a row at the 1. The third down play is a toss sweep to the near side, and they get him. And then the Ravens rush to the line.
Yeah.
For 4th down, and it's a disaster.
That whole sequence was like that. They got a lot of credit for catching the Bills. This came up not super in depth on our show, but I know I mentioned it because I watched like a long film study from Joe Marino on the opener, and he pointed out a couple different times how the Ravens are just ready to go quickly, and Bernard is still gesturing at people and not even where he really wants to end up. He's trying to get everyone else lined up, and so they were effective with quick snaps, not letting the defense get settled in, and I think they tried to capitalize on that again, and maybe it did them in.
An example of that was shown last night.
Yeah, they were talking about it on the broadcast for sure.
When they were showing how Gibbs and Henry were the two fastest running backs to the line of scrimmage. The highlight, which they stopped at the point Henry reached the line of scrimmage against the Bills, was this. And you see Bernard, number 8, sort of like pointing off to the side when the Ravens snapped the ball.
Right.
So you saw an example of that shown in last night's game. If you have room for a dumb generalization on these teams too, the Ravens and the Chiefs, not in terms of like who will beat the other, but we talked about Kansas City yesterday, and I think there's a lot of tension. It looks like, I'm generalizing, I say all the time how you got 53 players and 30 coaches and everybody else. You don't want to just sort of lump everybody in on what you see from the head coach or what you see from the quarterback. But Kansas City is giving off, like, there's tension there. Through Kelsey or through Mahomes, Mahomes and Kelsey, Reed and Kelsey, they look like they know. They look like a team you would sort of stereotype to think knows, okay, well, they feel it. You know, they might feel like their time is up.
Right.
And it's week 3, and you've got Reed bodying Kelsey, and you've got Mahomes pointing to, like, go, oh, you should be over there. You know, just sort of like, think of the Bills for this. What do you ever get from the Bills in this area?
Yeah, at most you get like you pointing out that Allen didn't talk to McDermott during a timeout or something.
Which is
nothing
last
compared to
year,
this stuff, right?
And there's none of that right now.
Right.
You used to get Allen would make a face when McDermott would send the punter on 4th and 3 or something, and you'd get Allen would show. But that's like a long time ago. Like they're not even punting on 4th and 3 anymore. They never need to punt. They're playing the Saints. They will not need. They should put the punter in the press box for this game just to sort of flaunt it. No, I mean the Chiefs are giving off.
Yeah,
you know they win the game, and I think most of the reaction to their win is like it's not any better.
Right.
And then you have Baltimore. I think there's this with Jackson and Henry a little bit, where like Henry's not on the field after his fumble, and I feel like they come off like they're sometimes not on the same page at all, which doesn't have to matter. You know, it's sports, and I've heard every example, like how this kind of thing can be just sort of a lie.
Yeah.
But I think both teams, again, I preface this by saying I was careful to, this is probably a dumb generalization. Maybe I'm even biased, but I think both teams look like they can feel the pressure. And look, they're both 1-2. They're both used to winning constantly. The Chiefs have rings. The Ravens have dominated in the regular season. And they're both 1-2, and they're playing each other. They know that it's tough right now.
I think Henry's reaction to his fumbles is pretty interesting.
Yes.
And look, it might be one of these things where there's no right answer, right? I mean, you're fumbling. You're fumbling twice in 3 games in the fourth quarter, deep in your own territory. I mean, you are giving the other team points, right? Which is like the opposite of what you're there for. If it's late in the game, you might be like against the Bills. It's like time to ice the game. 4-minute offense. Go just run it down their throats, and he loses the ball. Not the same situation yesterday, but still close game, and you're putting it on the ground like that. And he's talking like, I can't understand what's happening. It's a point of emphasis for me. He sounds really frazzled and put out by it. And look, that's not you. The alternative is what? He sits in his locker and says, it's just dumb luck. Which one's closer to probably right? Probably the dumb luck explanation, but he probably gets roasted, and maybe he knows that if he says it's dumb luck. So it's all I got to dig in and concentrate and all this sort of stuff, and he's just in a terrible stretch. But I don't know that he's like, protect the ball. A guy comes from behind him and punches it out. A guy that was like upfield going after Lamar Jackson and just comes back and from the blind side. Like, it's not like Henry's carrying the ball with one hand out in the open or something. It's tucked in there. It's just a perfect punch that gets it out. And, like, that's a great play by Hutchinson. And Henry's over here like, I got to try harder. I don't know, dude. Like, I think you got to just roll with it.
Maybe. But I think this is the kind of thing that can happen when you're putting more of your energy. Listen to me now. I have no idea what he's thinking. But you're getting older. It's all harder. He's not having 2 weeks in a row. He's not doing it. He's not accomplishing anything. Couldn't even score from the one. Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Like,
that was tough.
Plus there was a pass attempt. He's done that little jump pass before that seems to always work, but he didn't work in this game. It was a different kind of play. Still, he is struggling.
The way he flung himself on the bench after the fumble even was kind of like, I don't know, telling, ridiculous. It was just weird.
Here's the thing, and I want to bring this up with Ross Tucker in like 20 minutes. We know, well, by the way, we know that you can't always win the close games, and here are the Chiefs losing close games. And we also know that running backs get old, and you don't want to have you didn't want to give James Cook a contract, and he's like 26, right? Because why? By the time he's 28, it's maybe over. And here's Derrick Henry, and here's Saquon Barkley, and whoever else you want for this. Last year was an incredible year in this way. That they're just like telling you, nope, that's not true of me. It's not true of Derrick Henry. Week 1 happened. I've got Le Batard. Like, I guess Derrick Henry's the exception. I guess the Chiefs are the exception for close games. No, they're not. I guess Derrick Henry's the exception. No, he's not. There is no exception. It happens. And you never know when it's going to happen. And look, I mean, he ran for 20 yards against the Browns and 20 yards last night except for the one run. And that was right away in the game.
And even still, it was only 50 with that run in.
It was 57.
It's not a good day at all.
So I don't really want to bet against him, saying that I've been avoiding him in drafts mostly for 5 years and getting punished.
Torched, right.
But it will happen. You know, like this. Did you want the Bills to sign Derrick Henry a year ago?
No.
I didn't. Would they have won last year? The Ravens didn't. I mean, it's hard to win. But I couldn't sort of block that thought out last night because I'm waiting for years. Nothing against the guy. The guy's amazing. He's an all-timer. But come on, one of these days, he's not nobody can be the exception. Everybody's on a different age curve, but it's tons of volume. Barkley had, I'm making them the same point. Barkley had 400 touches last year. Oh, whatever. It's the Eagles. It's Saquon. 3.3 yards per carry for Philadelphia in 3 games. I don't know. It's coming. It comes when it comes.
Yep.
Like you might have that here with.
It especially comes. I don't have this locked down, but the Barkley thing was forecast by probably people in your fantasy space. The number of touches, the number of yards, leading rusher in the league type stuff. Year over year, like the year after they have that year, there's like some consistent precipitous drop off. Whether it's just coincidence seems dubious, wear and tear. Just physically is the guy what he was at the beginning of last year after all of that work at this age. It's hard.
Ross Tucker at 4. We'll talk to him about this. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Might not be the kind of thing You know, Bulldog is sitting to my right, but I want to say this as if he's not here.
Mm-hmm.
Part of his whole shtick is hating on coaches around the NFL that the Bills play. Like, here's Mike Vrabel, coach of the year, and Bulldog's like, oh, I want to hit him with a shovel. I mean, very, very extreme. Coaches that even like, well, Mike McDaniel, like, do kind of like him, I have to admit, but this guy's a joke. He'll find ways, just, sort of.
He looks less like an NFL head coach than any football coach I've ever seen in my whole life, McDaniel. He had the sweatpants rolled up. I asked at one point, I didn't get an answer to my son Owen. He's much younger than me, obviously. I'm like, what are these shoes? What is he wearing? Like, what throw on some Adidas. What are you doing?
Like I said.
Yeah. Just trying to fill it out for the people.
There's no way, I think, to dislike Dan Campbell. I think it's impossible. I mean, he has towed this perfect balance, if that's a way to put it. Like, he is the jock's favorite and he's the nerd's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. And when he got that job, think back, biting kneecaps and him rattling off his coffee order and all the shots of espresso he gets in it or whatever. He just seemed like borderline unhinged lunatic coach guy. And to have him like become what he is a pretty stunning development. It is definitely a warning to not just judge these people by how they sound when the microphone is in their face when they get the job. Because he got in there and, I mean, it took a little bit, right? Even everything he said about Jared Goff when they acquired Jared Goff was like, dude, come on. You don't mean any of this. And Goff is like, it's a similar story. It's turning something that you thought was true completely upside down. Didn't we all think Goff was finished when he went to Detroit? And he's been, one of the best quarterbacks in the league year over year now is this the third year of this with him there? There's nothing fluky about it.
At least.
He doesn't have Sean McVay in his headset anymore. That's long gone.
Well, the first year, they were 3-10-1 his first year. This is his fifth year in Detroit. 3-10-1 his first year. It felt to everybody like he's a placeholder.
Right.
And ever since under Campbell, he's flourished. And he's easy to like, too.
Yes, he is.
Because, they're playing outside, they'll lose. Because there's no roof.
Right.
And he had a great game.
Yeah.
Ross Tucker next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Folks, Bulldog here, reminding you that they continue at
Preseason game number 2 for the Buffalo Sabres at home tonight. They're going to host the Blue Jackets. Yesterday they were in Columbus. Pre-game at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Both are going to be right here on WGR. In net, Alex Lyon gets the start, with the expectation being he will go 2 periods, and then Devin Levi will get the third. While over with the Bills, they have an off day today. They're going to get back to work tomorrow. We'll get our first injury reports of the week as they get ready to host the New Orleans Saints this Sunday at 1 p.m. But the Bills did announce some practice squad signings. Linebacker Otis Reese IV goes to the practice squad, and with that, they have released cornerback Jalen Kimber. The Giants make the switch at quarterback. Russell Wilson goes to the bench. Rookie Jackson Dart will get his first start this Sunday at home against the LA Chargers. We have some wide receiver injuries. Bucks Mike Evans, he's going to miss a few weeks with a hamstring, while Commanders Terry McLaurin may not be able to go this Sunday against Atlanta due to a quad injury. And the Texans, they are releasing safety CJ Gardner-Johnson. In baseball, the final stretch of the regular season. This is the last week of the regular season. The Blue Jays do hold a 2-game lead on the Yankees for the AL East. The Jays already clinched a playoff spot. They host Boston tonight just after 7. Yankees also in action, also just after 7. They are hosting the White Sox, and New York, they currently hold that top wild card spot in the AL. The same, though, cannot be said for the Mets, as they are at Chicago versus the Cubs at 7:40. The Mets are currently just out of a playoff spot. They are, though, taking on the Cubs, who hold the top wild card spot in the NL. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bills now, as I look, plus 400 to win the Super Bowl. Separation. Baltimore is still the second choice. I mean, who should be the second choice? The Eagles, maybe? That's how it looks. 3 weeks into the season, the Bills have separated in this particular area and in the standings. 2 games up on the Ravens and Chiefs. Of course, they've beaten the Ravens, and the Ravens and Chiefs meet Sunday as the Bills play New Orleans, who they are favored to beat by 16.5. Anyway, on the line with us now, Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. Ross, do I sound a little cocky here with respect to the Bills and how the season has started?
I don't know. I think you sound a little bit surprised and or amused, intrigued that there's separation, that the Bills are that significant of a favorite already this year.
You know, no, I wouldn't say surprised. I mean, I wouldn't at all say surprised based on how the season has gone to this point. I didn't expect them to just run away with the league, though, or even just the conference. I mean, that's the story so far, isn't it? Now you've got the Ravens and Chiefs playing each other in Week 4, and the loser goes to 1-3. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's more surprising that Baltimore and KC are in the situations they're in than that the Bills are 3-0 and look great, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I think if you are a Bills fan, you should be excited that they took care of business and that the Ravens and Chiefs have both lost multiple times, and that you have an absolutely golden opportunity to get the number 1 seed, which, as we've talked about every week, is imperative. And I think because of that, that is why the Bills have the best Super Bowl odds, because right now it appears as if they'll have, the easiest path right now to get to the Super Bowl. The flip side is, they were outplayed by Baltimore, and then they beat 2 of the worst 5 teams in the Ross Tucker Football Podcast power ranking, and probably didn't look all that impressive in doing it against Miami at home. And 2 out of the 3 games, their defense is left a lot to be desired. Now, the flip side is no Milano, no Ed Oliver. I get that. But, like pretty much anything in our society these days, if you pay me $100 to sell you on why the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, I could easily do that. If you pay me $100 to tell you why the Bills aren't going to win the Super Bowl, I could do that too. Just let me know what you want.
What would that sound like? Like, would the explanation for why they won't win be like last year's or previous years, where you might not think you can trust them in a big spot, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think the explanation for why they won't win the Super Bowl would be that they're not good enough defensively. To have the Miami Dolphins convert that many third downs against you is troubling, especially in your home stadium when your fans were going crazy. And then, if the Dolphins, if Zach Sealer doesn't lose his mind and for some reason run into the punter, the Dolphins have the ball in a tie game, with a chance to take the lead. Now, this is the NFL, and that happens and whatever. But, Dolphins, there's a reason why they haven't won a game. There's a reason why the Jets haven't won a game. And the Ravens showed once again last night, which is probably encouraging for Bills fans, and it should be, that they have some defensive issues themselves. But, we all saw sort of how fortunate the Bills were to win that game. It's funny. Ultimately, none of that really matters. What really matters is that they get the number 1 seed, which they have a great chance to do. And then in those 2 games in January against really good teams, they play well enough to win those close games. And I feel like I can't say I don't trust them, because I trust Josh and I trust, their ability, like when they beat the Ravens last year. They've shown that they can do it. And this might be the best chance that they've ever had to beat the Chiefs, although I feel like we've said that a bunch of years, and then we get to January, and somehow the Chiefs are still, formidable. And I'm pretty confident they'll figure something out.
I don't think we'll want to spend all of our time today on the Bills game, because it was so long ago now and so much has happened since, with a full slate of games on Sunday and Monday, Ross. But the one thing I would say about their defense that I'm encouraged about, because it looks a lot like last year so far. Can't get out the field on third downs. Pass rush is inconsistent. I mean, Joey Bosa had a great day against the Jets, but couldn't seem to really get to Tua, and Tua got out of there more effectively than I think I'm used to seeing him get out of there anyway. But I feel like there's reinforcements coming. I've got Hoyt coming off a suspension. Ogunjobi too, but Hoyt is more for the pass rush. And I also have rookie interior linemen, one of whom made a couple of really nice plays, Walker, in the game that you were at on Thursday. The other one, Sanders, is still very much, to me, out at sea. But I feel like Walker especially could be a guy that as the year goes on, like if his curve goes up, and he doesn't crash into some rookie wall or something, that there's the potential for him to even have more impact in December than he's having right now. And he's already having a decent impact. So I feel like there's more there. Hairston is on IR, their number 1 pick at corner. Like there's supplements coming that last year didn't really exist.
I think I forgot about some of those guys. It's like when they're on suspension. I'm talking about a lot of teams every week. Mm-hmm. So when they're on suspension, you kind of lose track of them, and I shouldn't, because I had Michael Hoyt on the Raw Sucker podcast this offseason. He's an Ivy League guy, a Brown guy, and he's awesome. Loved his personality. So I love that they're getting those 2 guys back, because that's probably where they need help as much as any, is just continue. There's like an arms race on the D-line. And you can say about any roster position, blah, 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 but it does feel like it's more pronounced on the defensive line than anywhere else. I think, everybody saw what the Eagles did in the playoffs last year in the Super Bowl, but they realized it's kind of the only position that's like hockey, where you're really rolling through like, hey, let's bring in a whole nother line here and make a line change. And so having 8, 9 guys really matters. So I think that's encouraging. I will be curious. I mean, you think about it, Hairston, Ogunjobi, Hoyt, that's probably 3 of the guys that they've made, top 8, top 10 investments in on that side of the ball, financially. And then I could not agree more about Deion Walker. I tweeted right as that game ended at Ross Tucker NFL, or was about to end, that is an awesome 4th-round pick. Awesome. Now, there's a reason why he was a 4th-round pick, and there are always concerns people have, weight and whatever. Tavondre Sweat was a 2nd-round pick for the Titans last year. He was a weight issue guy who played very well last year. He's gotten hurt already this year, and I don't know that he built on his rookie year, I guess, would be the best way to describe that. But Walker looked pretty lean. I mean, it's objectively hilarious to me that they have him listed at 330. There's no chance. But he made some impressive plays, not only against the run, but then I think he got a fingertip on the Bernard interception. I mean, that does not happen, that you get a 6'7", 330-plus monster in the 4th round. So maybe the Bills greatly benefited from whatever his perceived issues were or are.
With Ross Tucker, Insider Calls are brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. I'm going to indulge myself here. I'd like to hear you, Ross, on the Ivy League, sort of the pecking order, or sort of like your perspective on this. So a guy goes to Brown, that's the Ivy League. We're all sort of brothers, I'm thinking you might think or say. I mean, are the Harvard guys the same as the Brown guys, or do we look sort of askew at the Harvard guys? You're Princeton. What is there other than just like, yeah, we're all Ivy Leaguers, we're all one? Are there, friends or enemies within that?
I want to take a quick guess before you answer, Russ, because you're obviously the expert on this. I feel like Harvard and Yale maybe are like over there, and the rest of the Ivy League is all like, we're all cool together.
No, that would be false.
Okay. Bad guess.
So it's this is a good question, and this is a hard thing to answer tactfully, or without acting like I'm sticking my nose up or whatever. The best way to describe it would be that there's 3 of them are called the Big 3, and the Big 3, it's Harvard, Yale, Princeton. And the reality is, it is very rare for someone to choose to go to one of the other Ivy League schools over Harvard, Yale, Princeton, right? So if you can imagine all the reasons why you would go to an Ivy League school in the first place, right? The academic reputation, the network, the reason why everybody wants their kid to go to an Ivy League school, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton are that like on steroids. I remember I talked to the Cornell head coach one time, and he said he stopped recruiting a kid as soon as he found out that they had the HYP virus. because he knew that it was over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool to tell people that your kid, goes to Cornell and you're really proud of them. Harvard, Yale, and Princeton are another level. And I would say it's interesting because I got accepted early. I did early action at Harvard, and I got in. So I knew like October of my senior year of high school that I was into Harvard, which is just amazing because all my buddies in Reading, Pennsylvania are like sweating it with these state schools in Pennsylvania they're applying to. And they're like, dude, you're such a jerk. Like they hated my guts. Like they're like sweating out Bloomsburg and Kutztown. And I'm home of Andre Reed, and I'm already into Harvard, which is hilarious. By the way, the valedictorian of my high school did not get into Harvard or Princeton my year. I got into both, which is a whole other conversation. But, yeah, I mean, I think my guidance counselor said that because of the the business school and the law school, that Harvard's probably, in terms of like public opinion or perception, probably like even one tick above Yale, Princeton.
Yeah. Well,
It's because it's like in the movies and stuff. I guess for me, though, I didn't really want to live in a city in college. Princeton won the Ivy League my junior year of high school in football, beat UCLA in basketball.
Yeah.
Princeton was an hour and a half away. I grew up going to Penn State and Notre Dame, which are like quintessential college towns. So there's a bunch of reasons why I chose Princeton over Harvard. And then, of course, we went there and didn't beat them one time in 4 years. But I can give you the stereotypes of all of them. Like, you know, we used to always say that Penn was the dirtbags when we were playing because they had some guys with like less than 1,000 SATs playing for them. So we would always call them the dirtbags, and they would laugh and kind of admit it and say, yeah, guess what? We're Penn grads, and we're going to get a nice job on Wall Street. Who cares? I will say this. I have no idea when I come on the show with you guys what we're going to get into. It's really unbelievable.
You love that. You said you like that, though.
I love it. I mean, I do 4 or 5 of these a day, and it's just refreshing. Like every other one to be like, okay, Ross, what are you seeing from the offensive line? You know, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, like, and that's fine, but I don't know. I think in life, people like a mix or a balance. I just think, you know, more people probably just learned something or thought my Ivy League stereotype diatribe was more entertaining than saying, you know, oh, by the way, while we're talking about Ivy League, watch this. This is why I'm the best. Everybody should follow me on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. Watch me bring this all the way back to the Buffalo Bills. Which Bills rookie, Ivy Leaguer, is dominating and having a major impact on their team right now?
Well, by way of Georgia Tech, but yes, Jackson Hawes.
Yeah, so that is a big, big point of contention for me. I despise that these guys that go to an Ivy League school for 4 years and graduate, okay, then they go to some big school for a semester, which, by the way, I wouldn't blame them at all. I would do the same. I would have done the exact same thing. But it annoys the crap out of me that we now talk about them based on like
that Georgia Tech produced him. Right.
Like he was at Georgia Tech for 6 months. You know, the kid that got drafted in the 4th round from Princeton that went to Iowa State for 6 months, he was at Iowa State for 6 months because they stay till the end of May to make sure they graduate, and they don't even go there till the summer. And then once their season's over, they go train for the draft. Like, we got to talk about Jackson Hawes as a Yale guy. We got it.
Yeah.
Like, it bugs the crap out of me. But guys, I'm telling you, if you want to sound cool or smart, and not you guys, that's hard for you two, but everybody listening, if you want to sound cool and smart, okay, talk about the impact that rookie tight end 85 Jackson Hawes has had on the run game and how he's a weapon, especially on outside zone, and he's enabled the Bills to have the same running attack they had when they were putting 70 Anderson out there, but he's more mobile and he gives them someone that can actually be a credible passing threat. Because I'm watching the game, guys, he's taking like Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson for rides, for 5-yard rides, and then dumping them on their head. And I loved it. I mean, I don't love that he's a Yale guy. That's the other thing that's always weird, by the way, Bulldog, is it's like I root for the other Ivy League guys, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a brotherhood for like me and Fitzpatrick and, you know, the guys that were in the league together at the same time from the Ivy League, because you know how hard it is to do it, and you kind of have that kinship. So you kind of root for them, but then you're also like a little bit weirdly jealous, and you don't want it to be, you know,
Right.
You want to be a Princeton guy, not a Yale guy or a Harvard guy.
Well, look, we're running out of time, and I definitely am not trying too hard to be cool here, but my initial volley here about the Ivy League and how it would shake out wasn't that far off. I said Harvard and Yale would be over there. I just left out your school, Princeton. But basically, you said those three are like the big three, and then it's the rest.
Now we don't like Yale.
I'm taking that as a win for myself.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second, though. It's not a win because I went to Princeton. That's the only one that I care about. Yeah. And you put us in with the lower level.
The Browns.
I didn't. You corrected me, but I got 2 out of 3. I'm taking some credit.
Ross,
you do what you need to do.
Let me just say this. I feel like it's pretty clear that Mike is more well-read and sophisticated than you.
Right.
And I'm going to assume that Mike knew about the Big Three and the Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and just didn't say anything.
Appreciate it. I know you have to go. Whatever you do think about that, you should also know Bulldog and I both bet Jackson Hawes to score against the Dolphins. So.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know you guys rolled like that.
A lot of people got fat on us.
We rolled like we do roll like that.
My idea on the pregame show, and a lot of folks got on board.
Nice. Love it.
Thank you, Ross. Goodbye.
All right. See you, boys.
Ross Tucker on the Western Hotline.
There you go. His insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side.
He's the best.
Indeed. Yes.
I love that about Penn. Our old boss went to Penn. I have friends who went to Cornell. They're over there. The Cornell guys are over there. Mm-hmm. Brown is Columbia doesn't even get a mention.
No, poor Columbia.
Poor Columbia. Just forget it. And then who do we leave out? Who's the 8th school? I can't even think of it right now. But
is it Dartmouth?
Dartmouth, of course. Yes, thank you. Dartmouth. Right, just who? The Hawes thing, he is right.
He is manhandling linemen. Yes. I mean, not defensive tackles, but because that would be pretty ridiculous. But still, defensive ends, he's killing it. And I haven't really thought about Alec Anderson at all. And it just turns out, like you said it last week, in the run-up to this game, or maybe even the day after the game, we talked to Sal about it. Like right away, draft day, there's Sal with like this guy's going to mean something to them. And that was easy to. It's after the draft. Oh, sure, okay, whatever. And here we are, 3 weeks into the season, and yeah, like I think I said on Friday the tight ends overall, outside of Allen. I mean, Allen's incredible. I think the tight ends are the story of their season so far. Kincaid is blocking great, and his passing game metrics are fantastic too.
It's so interesting. I mean, anybody who has wanted the Bills to be more physical and more run-oriented, sign James Cook, lean into the run game, all that stuff. This is it. This is what you wanted. Like, they're doing it. And Hawes is a part of that. Tyrell Shavers even is a part of that, as a wide receiver. Offensive line is just very stable and excellent. And, like, that's your team. And Baltimore isn't really that. Like, Baltimore can break runs. But they're not really that. Like, Detroit almost owned them up front. Like 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson? How? And then Kansas City absolutely isn't this. So right now, Allen, Jackson, Mahomes, pick your favorite. They're all elite. They're all going to be all-time greats. But the Bills have this and the other teams don't. And then Baltimore on defense is a kind of a mess. 803-0550, Ravens and Chiefs Sunday. Bills huge favorites. How do you see it? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll look for your calls as we return here on WGR.
Preseason game number 2 for the Buffalo Sabres at home tonight as they will host the Blue Jackets. Pregame coming up in about an hour and a half at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Both are going to be right here on WGR. In net, Alex Lyon will get the start. The expectation is he's going to go 2 periods, while Devin Levi will get the third. For the Bills, they do have off today. They'll get back to work tomorrow. We'll also get our first injury reports of the week. But for today, some signings to the practice squad. Linebacker Otis Reese IV, and to make that happen, they have released cornerback Jalen Kimber. The Giants are making the switch at quarterback. Russell Wilson makes it just 3 games before he heads to the bench. Rookie Jackson Dart, he will get his first start now this Sunday at home against the Chargers. And then some wide receiver injuries. Bucs' Mike Evans is going to miss a few weeks with a hamstring, while Commanders' Terry McLaurin may not be able to go this Sunday against Atlanta due to a quad injury. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
You can tell when these guys are using those hands, anchoring down, fighting pressure with pressure. This is with them implementing stuff that they've learned in practice on the game field, and then also what they're able to do in the twist game, right? What I see as an offensive lineman is what you want to do is you want to make sure when you're passing off twists to keep the defensive lineman on the same plane. That way you don't get your buddy picked and you don't create a muddy pocket. And what the Bills are being able to do is sink these twists. They're not quite getting home, but they're sniffing the quarterback now. And I'm telling you, that makes a huge difference, and it will make a huge difference as they progress these twist games and get more comfortable working with each other.
Mitch Morse, former Bills center, on with Eric Wood. Mike Schopp, the Bulldog here. I'm seeing that the Heisman Trophy favorite, John Mateer, is having hand surgery. They're not going to like that on Bet Sweats. Watch for the tweets from Sam and Joe. Because they were on him a long time ago, and now he's the favorite. But the head coach of the Sooners says he will have surgery tomorrow, an injury from the Auburn game. And he'll hopefully be back later this season.
Ooh, that doesn't sound like a Heisman Trophy winning campaign.
That's tough.
Yeah, that is tough.
You know, this is just like, I don't know, is this what makes it fun? Fantasy and betting, is this what makes it fun? Like, if you had that, he doesn't have to win. But he is now the favorite.
To have it go that well, for you to have found your way to him, built a construct in your head, like this is going to work, this is why, I'm going to bet it, I like this number, I like his opportunity, the conference, the schedule, whatever, right? Put it all together, come out with, I'm going to bet this, and it starts to go well enough that he becomes the favorite, and then that happens, that I don't think that qualifies as fun. No, I do not think that qualifies as fun.
No, it doesn't. It's not fun.
I did not enjoy watching Derrick Henry get stopped 3 times, from the 1-yard line last night, having already scored a touchdown, sitting on a bet with him needing 2 touchdowns and Gibbs needing 2 touchdowns, which Gibbs ultimately got after that sequence where Henry got stopped. But holy cow, come on! Give it to him again! Come on! What is happening? I didn't enjoy that.
There's lots of ways to lose.
Yeah.
There are lots of ways to lose.
Yep.
And sometimes you just throw your hands up because, like, hey, well, I was wrong about this. I had Marvin Harrison. This is not true of me. I'm just like hypothetically. I had Marvin Harrison going for 130 yards against San Francisco, and he went for 9. Like, well, he dropped an easy one and just dropped one in the end zone. Just, okay, well, whoops.
Yep.
That's a loss. But when you lose on an injury or whatever else that's sort of random, that doesn't sit well. I mean, this is fantasy. Like, we all kind of acknowledge it. When you're drafting all year, you know, it's almost like a drug. I mean, the drafts are so much fun. But you know that there's so much outside of your control that you really have to hit the nuts to win.
Yeah.
And, like, my favorite draft pick this year in the first round was not Brian Thomas Jr., who so far this year has been terrible, was not Ashton Genty, who so far this year has been terrible, was not even Justin Jefferson, who's been okay, but not what you're paying for. Was not Nico Collins, who has like 2 good plays. Was not, Drake London. I drafted some of all these guys. But my favorite was not even Jamar Chase. If you got the 101 and you're drafting constantly, you drafted Jamar Chase because this was your only chance to get Jamar Chase, and maybe he's that. Maybe he's all that. Was not my favorite pick. Was not Saquon Barkley, who's at 3.3 yards per carry on a 3-0 Eagles team. None of those guys. Easily my favorite first-round pick in fantasy this year was CeeDee Lamb, who through 2 games, although did not score a touchdown, but 100-yard games. It was everything. I was right.
And now he's hurt.
Now he's got a high ankle
He's
sprain.
going to miss a month. Probably.
And he had the nerve to suffer that injury after the game started, but right away, so it's 0 in week 3.
Yeah.
How rude.
That works out well.
That was my favorite pick in the first round. I nailed it, and he's gone for a month. Why do we play? This is one of those. I don't bet for the Heisman Trophy. I don't even vote for the Heisman Trophy anymore. But why do we play? There's really nothing else we could do that's better with our time and money than this.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else. Shouldn't I just be buying silver?
Right.
Really? I mean, there's no drafting silver. There's just buying it.
How much do I want to divulge here? This bet yesterday I made was Lions money line, Henry 2 touchdowns, Gibbs 2 touchdowns.
Pretty good.
I got to it. I had X amount of dollars left in my account, and I was determined to not put any more in for a while because I've been losing I've been losing a lot. And so I didn't even hit on the Jackson Hawes idea. My idea, Jackson Hawes, on our pregame show, and I didn't win on it because I coupled it with a bunch of other junk that didn't happen. So I didn't even get the $130 or whatever I could have got if I would have put $10 on it. I almost did, and I did. Anyway, because I'm an idiot. So I got X amount, like, I was going to build a parlay for this, and if it doesn't hit, then that's it for a while. And that's what I did. And I came back. Henry, 3 carries from the 1-yard line. Derrick Henry.
Yep.
What are the odds if he's getting the ball 3 times in a row from the 1-yard line that he's not scoring? I mean,
they're not 0.
Right.
We know that now.
But wow. But that's how I stumbled to that out of almost frustration. Which it's not, again, it's a horrible process. You shouldn't bet that way, but that's what I did. Last time before the game started, just like, okay, I'm just going to let me do this. Fine. Now I'm going dark for a little while. I'll wait till they come chasing.
Saying that again.
They're going to come calling me for like, hey, here's some stuff. Come on back, and then I'll come back because I'm a slave.
You're going to resist the temptation to bet on a Sabres revenge game tonight, or a Blue Jackets.
A Blue Jackets revenge game tonight. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
I did go into my lineups. I don't know. Like, I was thinking about, this is almost like within the last point. What was I the most wrong about? I wasn't wrong about CeeDee Lamb. I was right about CeeDee Lamb. It wasn't even that hard. Of all the great picks, great players going into this season, he was like my favorite, and he was doing great, and he got hurt. I don't know. I'm kind of done with Marvin Harrison. I think I'm fed up. You see the one he dropped? Like, he's alone. There's nobody within 10 yards of him on like a 30-yard pass from Murray in San Francisco, and he jumps. Like, I used to tell my son, stop jumping for the ball. You don't need to. Like, just catch it. Just stay on the ground and catch it. Now, if you're playing football, you want to out-jump somebody that's all over you, okay. Nobody's on Harrison. Anyway, not even the right point. He jumps, and he tries to catch the ball like in the bucket, and he drops it. And there's nobody else in the frame. Like, that's Marvin Harrison. He also dropped a touchdown, which was much harder. But, like, I just went into it's Tuesday, you sort of wake up, and here's all your results, here's everything. And I just went into my lineups, and I just hate benched Marvin Harrison everywhere.
Yeah,
I just decided, like, I'm not good. For 2 days, you're off. Like, I might get to Thursday. They play Thursday night. I might get to Thursday and be like, I got to play them. For 2 days, you're on the bench.
You're right. I'm trying to send a message. I'm
sending a message.
I love that 2 of the what sound like the most disappointing receivers in all of fantasy football land are proud members of Tunsil's Gas Mask. I've got both Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brian Thomas Jr.
Well,
stop drafting juniors.
And Harold Fannin.
And Harold Fannin.
Junior.
That was a pivot because of injuries, Kittle. But yeah, we Gibbs last night that came through. I mean, we got
Gibbs
there.
is great.
We're on the board.
He is great.
Yes, he is.
That's a great running back.
Yes,
Because he does, like, I don't know, it's probably a little bit of a stereotype thinking that, well, they have Montgomery. They're Sonic and Knuckles, right?
Right.
They have Montgomery, so when they're goal to go, they won't even need or use Gibbs, but they do.
Right.
And it's like, fine. Mm-hmm. 2 touchdowns last night, as you know. Here's Charlie with us. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
great. Thank you.
You know you have the best sports show. I'm a frequent caller, and a few months ago I was calling about James Cook during the middle of the contract negotiations. Mm-hmm. And my point was that James Cook, pound for pound, is doing much what O.J. Simpson did his first 2 years under John Rouch before Lou Saban finally got there and said, this man deserves 22 touches a game. He was deploying O.J. Simpson as a kind of flanker almost. Now, my point about James Cook is this. I told you guys that James Cook was worth every single penny to pay him his contract, and don't BS around about it. Give him his money because he's deserving. He is right now showing you, pound for pound, he's the best runner in football with only 12 touches a game. He's making it happen. He's the touchdown leader. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he is up there with Thurman Thomas, O.J. Simpson, and Cookie Gilchrist. And my point is this. I was right about that. James Cook needed that contract, and we shouldn't have taken so long to pay the man. But thank God that he did. Let's go win the Super Bowl now. The Bills mean business. We're going 15-2, and then we're going to win the whole Super Bowl. Thank you very much.
That sounds great, Charlie. Yeah, I've said already a few times since Thursday. It's getting a lot harder to support the anybody can do what he does.
Not to me.
He's made some elite plays this year, I think. So I can eat it a little bit. If Mike doesn't want to, I will. He looks great, and Ray Davis is a ghost.
Right now he is. Do you really need to invoke OJ? That's where you lose reasonable people.
It's a bit much. Yeah,
he did
sure.
the same guy did it in the summer, and you can't just in a sort of a normal way that people who are not Bills fans would sort of accept to tell them how you think James Cook is really good. You have to link him to one of the 5 best running backs in the history of the sport, arguably. That's where you lose reasonable people, is to mention O.J. Simpson in the same breath. It's just nuts. He's doing really well. The system, the line, the surrounding talent has a lot to do with it. He's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not prime Saquon. Pound for pound, whatever that means. I don't need to weigh my running backs. I just need to find the best one that works for me. And he's doing well. But you lose your sense of normalcy, reality, sanity, in my opinion, when you sort of bring in the legends. Because you just don't need to do that. He's not OJ. Is that okay? I think it's okay. It's perfectly okay.
I also agree with that.
That he's not Christian McCaffrey or one of these. It doesn't have to be.
I think it really I don't want to stop you if you're not done.
I can be done.
I think it bears watching how he got 70-some% of the carries in the game on Thursday. And a part of this in the summer for us was, I don't want to pay him and then therefore use him more because I'm paid to validate that I gave him a contract. I get that he's the best guy they've got right now, and Davis has not hit anything yet this year. Johnson's still in his same role, but be careful about using him that much. Because one of the things that separates him from Gibbs is not that big a guy either. But durability, I never wanted to see them get to a Barkley-esque snap share with this guy. And they're not, snap share is not quite there yet, but as far as handles and touches, Thursday was hopefully an aberration, because I think they should be mindful of trying to keep him, in one piece.
You know what else it is, I think, and I'm happy to have this conversation continue. I think what else it is, though, like, what did we have at the end of last year? Well, he's not even on the field when it mattered the most, and that was a close game. Like, they did use Cook late to, help them get home. And I don't know what the Davis thing is, right? Like, is Davis different? Because
I don't know.
He's not getting what Cook is getting. And that's sort of the thesis of it all, is that Davis would, or anybody would. Maybe not anybody. But I felt like Davis was sort of capable enough, and he didn't get the ball on Thursday night.
Right.
Once. Thanks, Charlie. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR. You're right. You're right to point this out to us. Guys, big baseball week. So it's Red Sox, Blue Jays tonight. Best rivalry in sports, red versus blue. Red Sox, Blue Jays. Giolito and Gossman. Toronto is up 2 on the Yankees with only this week 6 games left. And the Yanks have the White Sox, which is like not even fair.
That's like a walkover.
I
Yeah.
don't the Blue Jays ever get to play the White Sox. So anyway, White Sox at Yankees, Red Sox at Blue Jays. Red Sox a game up, minus 900 to make the playoffs, but it's 1 game. Maybe they have tiebreakers. Detroit at Cleveland. This is good. Cleveland was a million games back. Now they're 1 back of Detroit. Could end up winning the division. Could end up missing. Same with the Tigers, who had the big lead. Scooble tonight at Cleveland.
All right.
Right now, you're hearing this. Get to Cleveland. I don't know. It's probably not time. Then you have my Reds. Even with the Mets, barely up on Arizona. Home to Pittsburgh. Oviedo versus Singer. I'm Singer tonight. Let's go Reds. The oldest mascot in sports history, Mr. Redleg.
Mr. Red Leg.
Mr. Redleg.
Not Mr. Red.
With the mustache.
Right.
No, actually, Mr. Met is the oldest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think Mr. Met is the oldest. He was like right there when the Mets were born, I think. Mr. Met. That's a great mascot. Both, giant baseball heads. Can't go wrong.
Totally works.
Can't go wrong.
Right.
The Reds get Skeens tomorrow
All right.
in their playoff chase.
Do you know what the Astros have got? Because they're in this mix here in the because they're tied with Cleveland in the wild card for the 3rd wild card right now.
The Astros are playing. Of course, it's like the last game at the A's.
Sorry. Oh, okay. That's
At the A's.
That's cushy if you can get it, I
And
think.
Seattle has the Rockies, speaking of cushy. Bryce Miller tonight in Seattle against the 43 and 113 Rockies. That under bet on the Rockies that Sam touted, that Joe tailed, I didn't, was over a month ago. Like 113 losses, and the season is not over yet. So lots of fun baseball tonight. We'll get back to the Bills. Could Josh Allen win the MVP again? What are his chances? 803-0550. We'll get to that and more as we continue until 6, and then it's Sabres pregame, back-to-back with Columbus. Sabres home tonight. Maybe you're going down there. We'll get into them at 6 o'clock. Paul Hamilton, Lindy Ruff, Alex Lyon, Alex Tuck, all to come tonight before game time. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Hey, folks, how about a shot at 25 grand from Window Nation? It's Bulldog here. All you got to do is predict the halftime and final scores of the September
In just about an hour for preseason game number 2. Again, pregame at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop as they will host the Columbus Blue Jackets. Both going to be right here on WGR. And in net tonight, Alex Lyon will get the start. The expectation for him, he's going to go 2 periods, while Devin Levi is expected to get the third. It is an off day for the Bills. They'll get back to work tomorrow. We'll get our first injury reports of the week as they get ready to host the New Orleans Saints this Sunday at 1. But ahead of that, the Bills have made a signing to the practice squad, linebacker Otis Reese IV, and to do that, they have released cornerback Jalen Kimber. Around the rest of the NFL, the Giants have made the QB switch. They're going to rookie Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson makes it just 3 games. And for Dart, his first start will be this Sunday at home against the Chargers. And then tough day in college football for the state of Oklahoma. Sooners quarterback John Mateer is set to miss a few weeks as he is going to have hand surgery, while Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy has been fired in the middle of his 21st season with the program. Then in baseball, the final stretch of the regular season is this week. The Blue Jays hold a 2-game lead on the Yankees for the AL East. Jays have already clinched a playoff spot. They host Boston just after 7. While the Yankees, they're also in action. They are also at 7, hosting the White Sox. Yankees, though, do currently hold the top wildcard spot in the AL. The same cannot be said for the other team in New York, the Mets. They are at Chicago versus the Cubs at 7:40. Mets are currently just out of a playoff spot. The Cubs holding that top wildcard spot in the NL. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Name any word in less than a second. I will tell you how many letters are in it. But I cannot do anything mechanically. I don't even know how to put a game together for 3-year-olds.
And the Bulldog.
Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
One of those aforementioned, those referenced 3-year-olds is on his way to the homecoming dance coming up. So that was a while ago. Homecoming tickets were purchased.
Yep.
Anyway, when we last spoke, and, we're kind of wide open here, just talking about the Ravens' loss, Baltimore, Kansas City. I mean, it's pretty wide open. Are you afraid of anything? 803-0550 is the number. Should we talk about that, actually, before I get sideways here? Not that far sideways, but just sort of on Allen and different things. Like, is there a best result, Baltimore, Kansas City? This, I think, is maybe the number one topic today for Bills fans, would be this. Who is it better to have lose? Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs. No. Which division looks stronger? I think the AFC West. Burrow's hurt. How much do you believe in Pittsburgh? That depends. I mean, they're 2-1. But I'd have to really look at each team's schedule running through, and I have not done that. And I think maybe if you want to really answer this question with all the information, maybe you should do that too, but I haven't done it yet. I know we've run through it different days, but I just don't have it memorized.
Pittsburgh is going to Pittsburgh again, I think.
Sure. All right.
Minnesota in Dublin this Sunday morning. Bye week. Browns, Bengals.
I think the Chiefs will have a harder time winning their division. I want to say win or lose this game than Baltimore will have winning their division, win or lose this game. They have the same record right now, right? They're both 1-2. I think there's more competition in the AFC West than there is in the AFC North. It's not a blowout, but the Burrow injury really impacts that.
If not for that,
I think it might be close to a push. I don't know that I would be able to make this point, but I think right now, I think it's at least right now to make the point. Mm-hmm. So I think if you agree with that, if you think KC is going to, I know they're a bigger boogeyman for us than the Ravens have been. But there's also the thing that like the Ravens are seems a tougher matchup for the Bills than the Chiefs. Even though the Bills beat the Ravens, it seems a little backwards, I know. But Sal's been saying that for years, I think. You'd rather play the matchup game that favors the Bills versus the Chiefs more than it does Ravens, even though they keep losing them in the playoffs. But if you think the Chiefs are going to have a harder time, win or lose, if they get to 2-2 this week, they're still going to be looking up at the Chargers. The Broncos could be tied with them. And I'm going to leave the Raiders by the side of the road for now. But those other two teams, I think, make it likely that the Chiefs will have a harder time winning the division than Baltimore. If Baltimore falls to 1-3, I still think they're going to win. I think they'll probably still be the favorite to win that division.
I think so. So I'm looking right now. I know they're the favorite today.
Right. I would think that even if they lose another game, just because of the state of things, so I think I want. What do I want? I think I want the Chiefs to win. I think it's better if the Chiefs win. I'm more worried about Baltimore. They've done this before. Like were they not 1-2 last year even? Baltimore, they had a weird loss at home when they saw the Bills.
They lost to the Raiders at home. Anyway, I just feel like then the Browns.
They could get off the mat more quickly from 1-3. And so
they were 0-2 last year.
Okay.
They lost in Kansas City in the opener.
Right.
And then they lost to the Raiders at home.
All right.
They won in Dallas, and then they blasted us.
Blasted the Bills. So I still am more respectful of the Ravens. So I think I'd rather ding them and let the Chiefs get to 500. I reserve the right to change my mind the more things I read and hear as the week goes by, but sitting here today, I'm reasonably confident that's where I'm going to land. Within talking here for 3 minutes, I couldn't even keep it straight because they're both so good.
I don't know.
I don't think it's real easy either way. But if I got to decide right now, I think go Chiefs.
If is as ordinary as Kansas City has looked, I think if the Ravens actually win in Kansas City, they're going to feel like they have felt Baltimore.
Right.
I think most people think the Bills and Ravens are close to equivalent. The standings will tell an important story, home field and a bye week maybe and all of that. I think maybe last night touches that up a little bit because the Ravens defense is really hurting and the Lions just rolled through them pretty much all night. And that isn't really the narrative with Baltimore. Like last year, their pass defense was bad, but they got it right. But they've got pretty big injuries and they could not hold up last night to Detroit. So that might make you think there's more separation there, despite what week one looked like. I mean, every week is different. I think if the Ravens win in Kansas City, the story is the Chiefs and whether it's over. I mean, they're a slight underdog. It's not like they're a huge underdog or anything like that. But I think if the Ravens win, almost no matter what, your shouty shows are like, is it over for Kansas City?
Because that's already happening now, kind of.
It's already happening, and they go Jacksonville, Detroit. Jacksonville away. I mean, it's sort of the equivalent of the Giants game, a night road game against a lesser team. Then Detroit at home, Vegas, Washington at home. Then they come here. How many losses can you afford?
Yeah.
6?
They're also, they're with that schedule. That's why I said, like, I'd want to put that into the blender here as I'm trying to concoct, my scenario here. There's maybe another loss, and with that schedule, you feel like they could get buried. There's a point to be made here that I left out, and that is that the Bills already have the head-to-head on Baltimore because they've beaten them. And as down as Kansas City looks, if they were to win this game and then win until they get to the Bills, I'm gonna want to beat them. The game's here, but I don't have that in my pocket yet, right? So Baltimore, because of that, is by a half a game less of a threat right now because I have them and I head-to-head. If we tie, I got you. I don't have that on the Chiefs yet, and they can still get it on me. So maybe that pushes
right.
it to the Baltimore side.
That's right.
Like, get Baltimore the win, because if I just if all they do is catch up to me and never actually pass me, I've got them. Whereas I do not have that advantage on Kansas City yet. So maybe them getting dinged with a third loss is the better scenario, because who knows what's going to happen when they come here in Week 9.
I think that's right, and I think there is a greater chance that the Chiefs just can't get there than there is for the Ravens. I'd have a very tough time imagining Baltimore missing the postseason, and that's really all that matters. Like if the Ravens get a wild card and go to Indianapolis or something, okay, like who would you pick? Like that, it's hard for me to imagine the Ravens miss. That's with their schedule in mind too. That's the Burrow injury. Do they even split with the Steelers? Like, that's probably the least that they would do. Another Browns game at Miami. They're home for a month after Sunday. Houston, Rams, bye week, Bears. Jets are in here. Patriots at home. Hard for me to imagine the Ravens lose 7 games. Even that could do it. That could still be enough.
Yeah.
But 10-7, I could see the Chiefs getting to 7 losses. Baltimore.
Right.
Detroit, Bills, at Denver, Colts, Chargers, Denver again.
The Charger game is in Kansas City. That was a L.A. home game that was played in Brazil? Okay.
December.
I want to clarify, make sure.
I could see them losing 7.
Yeah.
That's, L.A. wins the West. Then you've got Denver, if they can earn a split there, the Colt game, the Charger game, the Bills game. Like, it just feels, I think the tensions are high there.
Yeah.
And maybe they're in Baltimore too. Last night, hurt. That's a very good team that beat them.
Right. I don't think there's any, we'd be doing what we do. We'd be picking it apart and just like we always do. But yeah, that is maybe the story outside of, the Ravens and Derrick Henry fumbling again and their inability to score from the 1-yard line with that backfield, is Detroit's back. Who did they punch up on last week?
Bears.
Right. Okay, great. Right. They look pretty meek in week 1, and they just cruised against not a team at their level or supposed level, and then last night they went in there and they just put the brass knuckles on. That was really impressive, and I feel like they're back to whatever level they've been at. Last night sort of gets you to, okay, they're still that team. The coordinators left, okay, sure, but they're still that team. 7 sacks on that offense is borderline incredible to me.
How many games ago is Josh Allen being sacked? A total of 7 times. That's many games ago.
Right. So, I think my process was flawed at inception here. I should have thought about the tiebreaker the Bills already have on Baltimore before I rushed to, Kansas City and all that. I like that. That's a pretty big. That's maybe the biggest piece. Is that I have an advantage on them if we end up with 13 wins each.
Here's Joe with us. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Thank you.
So you guys were discussing, like, who do you think who's it better for us to lose, the Chiefs or the Ravens? I would definitely say it's probably better for the Ravens to win. I definitely agree with you. Even if win or lose, the Ravens are still going to win the AFC North. Like Pittsburgh, they always fall apart in the second half. But, honestly, even, just so far, they haven't looked as good as I thought they would be. So they might be falling apart early. And then, the Bengals without Joe Burrow, forget about it. And then, the Chiefs, they didn't look good last year, and they were somehow winning these one-score games. And, this year, they still look terrible. They look a little worse. And, luckily they're not winning, except for, this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you think about it, the Ravens are already 3 games behind the Bills. It is extremely unlikely that they could take the 1 seed because they would have to win out, and we have to lose 3 games. Who are we losing to on our schedule 3 times? If they lose again, forget about it. Then they're 4 games behind us. There's no way they pass us in that case. So I think I still think the Chiefs. I think they're going to suck. So if they win, it really doesn't matter. I don't think they're going to win their division. I think it'd be better for us for the Ravens to win. That would put the nail in the Ravens 1 seed coffin. Like, no way, they're done.
If they lose.
Yeah, if they lose, that's what I mean.
Okay. So we're on Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it's better if Kansas City wins.
Okay. I think maybe he turned the whole way around during the conversation.
Just like I did. Like
you did.
I want all things. I want all the things. It's real. I think what we learned here between the caller and myself, sorry if all of this seemed inept, it's really close. I mean, I think there's a compelling case to be made on both sides of that.
Here's another way of looking at it. Why do we follow sports? Why do we love it? In theory, it makes us happy. We like the joy of, the result we want. By far, Bills fans would rather see Patrick Mahomes lose than the Ravens. Bills fans can stick their chests out when it comes to Baltimore, including week 1.
Yeah.
Like, all right, the standings are the standings. Let's see you win next time, Baltimore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, their reputation now is losing the big ones, even maybe more than the Bills is. It's close. They're the same. At worst for the Bills, they're the same. So, watching, isn't it super rich when you're a fan of a team to, watch a home team lose, another home team lose? Like, that's the best. Watching Kansas City lose at home to anybody, it's rare, but it feels great. Tastes great. Maybe, did that not happen when they lost to Philadelphia in week 2? Wasn't there like sort of a a satisfaction with that?
Yep.
And it's still Baltimore winning, but I don't think, like the caller sort of said, I don't think you really have to worry about the Ravens, at least for now, in the standings. You said it too.
Yeah.
Kansas City is the one because Kansas City still gets to play you. And if they get right.
Right. Right, and they presumably will have, I would expect, both Worthy and Rice. We'll see what else happens between now and then. It's still a ways off, but they could be a very different-looking offensive team.
By week 9. That's
by week 9, right. So, and far as rocky as it looks for them right now, I don't want to be sitting here assuming wins over a team of that caliber. That is capable of what they've been capable of. And again, that can change if they look lousy again for another week or two. That will get maybe less appropriate to point out. But for right now, it's still so early. Yeah, it's so close. Last night was an example of this to me. Like, what are we here for, right? We're here for what? We're here for our gambling parlays. We're here for our fantasy football.
2.
We're here for fun. We're enjoyment. And I'm getting texts from my friends last night. This game is incredible. And it was. You got big plays, great plays. And the result that I think, most of us wanted. Because that's an NFC team on the other side of Baltimore last night. So, of course, there's no harm in the Lions winning the game. You're rooting for that harder. It's easier to see where there's no gyrations like we just spent 20 minutes going through on the Ravens and the Chiefs. Like, who do I want to win? It's easy. NFC team, go Lions. And, they got there, and that scored very highly, that game.
Yes. Here is Ken next. Hi, Ken.
Hi, guys. So I was kind of battling back and forth between the two. At first I was thinking Baltimore because, let's see, maybe, we pair up. I think they're the scarier one usually that we pair up against because of the dual threat. Then I started thinking probably Kansas City I'd rather see lose. And the reason being is different from what you guys are giving. I see that, shortly after they're going to get Rashid Rice back, Worthy could come back. I think I'd like to have that cushion now because I could see them making a run here if they start getting the deep threats and their wide receiving and their passing game going. And our secondary is a little weaker, so I don't like that matchup as much, and they seem to be able to pull it out when they need to, when they get their key players back. But right now they're just relying so much on Kelsey, and he's just not the same guy. On the other hand, too, I'm also thinking Baltimore. We've got the tie lead, but also Henry. He's not playing himself. 3 fumbles in a row. That's not him. Does that play on his psyche? And as the season goes on, with the wear, the tear, the age, kind of a blueprint by Detroit, maybe how you want to guard him? Do we see them start being more easily to defend against Henry? Does it get into him so that he doesn't want to fumble the ball, so he doesn't run as hard, or he tries to protect the ball so much more that he isn't as free to maneuver like he likes to? So all those factors in there, I think I'm going to lean towards Kansas City.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. I want to talk – we can talk about the wide receivers Chiefs point too, but you mentioned earlier watching Derrick Henry's reaction to his lost fumble. What's going on in that guy's head? Like, does he – I mean, this is a leap. But does he sort of sense that he's not Derrick Henry? Like, he never fumbled. He's fumbled in 3 straight games, and 2 were critical lost fumbles. The Ravens recovered the one in Cleveland.
Deep in his own territory, fourth quarter, both times. Right.
Yeah. So what is that reaction? Like, you can't really blame anybody else for that. You know, he's not mad at his quarterback or his line, right?
Right.
Like, that's not a
caller or anything. Right. It's him. Right.
He's just sort of freaking out that just happened. He sort of slams his helmet and falls back onto the bench.
Awkwardly, in a way that a man my age would hurt himself if I threw myself onto a piece of furniture that way. Like, it was just he seemed really out of sorts. More than just mad. Right? The helmet slam is made. You see that? Like that, the way he flung himself on the bench, he almost missed the bench is what happened there, I think. It was very, very strange.
Did he come back in the game? So his snap percentage for the game was 49%. I mean, they used Justice Hill on third downs, and if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm pissed about Keaton Mitchell because he doesn't dress now. He's a dynamic running back. Showed it in the preseason, showed it in the league before he got hurt. And John Harbaugh got a question about him a week or two ago, and he said, look, we can't really dress him because we got guys above him, and when he's on the field, everybody knows what's coming. Here's a different way of looking at it. How about put your best players on the field? I mean, Justice Hill, no offense. Or maybe offense, actually. Maybe offense. The other guy's great. What do I know? But, you know, that's just sort of a weird, twisted kind of analysis, I think, is like, well, no, he's too good. Or he didn't say that. It's just like, it's too much of a tell what we're going to run. How about come up with something else then? How about a new idea? So it doesn't have to be that way. Can you imagine a coach saying that? Like, no, we can't play this guy because teams will know what that means. Do they have to? That's bad. 49% Henry. And he might have taken a snap or two after that fumble, but he's not on the field for their comeback effort. Like, they're down, They're down 10 after that. The Lions get a field goal after the fumble, maybe, and now it's a 2-score game, and, you know, it's no, they go up 7. They were up 4 at the time of the fumble. They go up 7.
They get a field goal there, right, and then they get another score late.
I don't see Derrick Henry's name in the play-by-play after the fumble. 8:31 left. He might have been on the field, but he doesn't get the ball or a target.
I think he was on the field because I was paying particular attention to him because of my already admitted gambling interest. But him not getting a touch sounds right.
He did not get a touch or a target, not that he gets targets anyway, after his fumble. That probably didn't make him feel better.
Yep.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 8:03:0550, Baltimore at Kansas City on Sunday. Chiefs and Bills here on WGR, 1 o'clock kick. We'll be right back.
Saints and Bills.
What did I say, Chiefs?
Yep.
I'm getting ahead of myself. If the Chiefs did have to play both teams, would they beat either one? Saints, he's looking past it, folks. Saints and Bills Sunday at 1. This is WGR.
Buffalo Sabres pregame coming up in about a half hour as game number 2 of the preseason. The Sabres are at home hosting the Blue Jackets. Puck drop at 7, both pregame and the game will be right here on WGR. Alex Lyon will get the start in net. The expectation for him being that he will go 2 periods, while Devin Levi will get the third. For the Bills, an off day, as it is the norm for Tuesdays for them. They'll get back to work tomorrow afternoon. We'll get our first injury reports. But ahead of that, the Bills did sign today linebacker Otis Reese IV to the practice squad, and to do so have released cornerback Jalen Kimber. The Giants are making the switch at quarterback. Russell Wilson makes it just 3 games before he is benched for rookie Jackson Dart. Dart's first start is going to be this Sunday at home against the Chargers. And then the final stretch of the regular season for baseball is here. The Blue Jays hold a 2-game lead on the Yankees for the AL East. The Jays have already clinched a playoff spot. They host Boston just after 7. The Yankees are also in action at 7. They are hosting the White Sox. Yankees currently hold that top wild card spot, while the Mets cannot say the same thing. They are out of the playoffs as of right now. They, though, are taking on the Cubs at 7:40. The Cubs hold that top wild card spot in the NL. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
How about that? Jackson Dart going in week 4 for the Giants. Well, they had to sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and now they're both veteran backups behind the rookie from Ole Miss, right? Jackson Dart.
Righto.
Pretty good name.
Yep.
Good face, good name, right? The guy was
good face,
off to
good
a great
name,
start in life.
Good headband. He's got a good look.
A quarterback named Dart.
Yeah. As I recall last year, I felt like I liked him early, and then that you seem to keep remembering that and sort of nudging me to like suggesting that I really like Jackson Dart. I was like, I don't like him that much. And it turned out he ended up being a first-round pick. So, yeah, anyway, whatever.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drafted Travion Henderson in one big draft on a stream, and then I was the guy who loved Travion Henderson. It was like close to the regular season. I was kind of ready for something a little bit unorthodox, and so far, not so good.
No.
For Henderson. They haven't really used him yet. I don't think you always want to know this, with drafts and with rookies, like what's going to happen. They got to be able to pass protect. And an old school coach like that, he doesn't want the fumbles from the other guys either. Gibson fumbled in the game, too.
Yeah.
So 3-headed is not what you want when you're drafting a running back in fantasy, Henderson, with Stevenson and Gibson there. But long-term, he should be the play. Home to Carolina this week. Then they come here. Then they have the Saints and the Titans. Playable. And if they could have gotten, I'm not sad for them, but they could have gotten one of the 2 losses.
Right, they'd be in pretty good shape.
They'd be looking pretty good at like 5-2 even maybe.
Yeah.
But not now. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550, Baltimore and Kansas City this week. What do you like there? Ravens lose last night. Where are we at with Derrick Henry? I think that's a question after the last couple of weeks. I mean, he ran all over the Bills. If he doesn't do that, then maybe it's more of an obvious question, but he did.
Yeah. They are still down Ricard, and that matters to like how they want to play. I made this point when they were coming here for the opener. No Ricard. Like that's kind of bread and butter stuff. 2 tight ends, one of them a dangerous downfield guy, like in Likely. Not that Andrews can't get down the field, but Likely's the more dangerous player at this stage of their careers, I think. And Ricard is kind of a unicorn. There just aren't a lot of guys like him. They had a reserve tight end in that role when they played here. I didn't really notice what was going on last night, but getting him, assuming he's going to come back at some point, I mean, I feel like we were sweating both guys. Well, no, Ricard was ruled out pretty early, and Likely I think we thought wasn't going to play, but they didn't rule him out until like the Friday before the game, I think, if I remember right.
And he's still not back.
And Ricard is still not back. So maybe that's still going to be a while, but those guys matter to them, I think. So before I'm ready to say Derrick Henry ain't got it no more, he hasn't played a snap with that 330-pound fullback yet.
He's that big?
That might change some things. Yeah, the guy's a giant. Did you see that Tampa signed? They are playing Philly this week, and they signed a guy who in college, now he went undrafted, and I think he was in camp in the summer. There's a former Florida defensive tackle that
that big guy
played college football. I don't have his name coming into memory.
Desmond Watson. He played at like 460 pounds or something in college.
What position?
Defensive tackle.
Okay.
He is the rub
That
here
puncher?
is the rub here is that he is the tush push antidote.
Ooh.
They're signing this guy this week. I think they practice squad, I think, is what they did. But, I mean, they can just elevate him. But he recently worked out. There was talk of him losing weight. I mean, I don't know how much, where you go from 464 in college. Like, getting down to 4 bills would probably take some time, even with Awaken 180.
Listen, I know a program. Yeah, you said it.
So I think it's just funny that they did that this week, and everybody's making the same observation. Like, they're just going to put him in the middle there and try to stop the tush push.
Was he on another team?
No. So I'm saying I think he was in camp, maybe even, I don't know where he was. But I think he was in a camp. Zach, do you know?
He was in Tampa's camp.
He was in Tampa's camp. Okay. He didn't make the team, but they had him back in for a workout, and they brought him back in.
And then after this game, he gets cut, and
Right.
Denver signs him because Philadelphia plays Denver next.
Right.
If it works.
If it works, right. Denver trades for him because Tampa will be like on the phone going, you want our guy, you're going to have to make it work for me.
Desmond Watson.
Right.
And a 2031 7th for a 2030 7th.
That'll work. Right.
You know who PFF's highest graded quarterback is through 3 weeks? I'll give you a hint. He's never won an MVP.
Is it Justin Herbert?
Sam Darnold.
Okay. Well, that's going a lot better, obviously, than I thought it would go in Seattle.
I have to agree to that. With that, yes. I just fell into the thinking that their line was supposed to be terrible.
Right, and he'll die
and
back there.
he'll die.
Yeah.
But they won in Pittsburgh, and they destroyed the Bills' next opponent, New Orleans. So good start for him. PFF's highest-rated, top-rated quarterback through 3 weeks. Allen is the MVP favorite right now to go back-to-back. Just like the Super Bowl odds, Buffalo-Baltimore. MVP is Allen Jackson. Here we are again. They were talking on Bet Sweats about this morning, Sam and Joe. And one asked the other, is there anybody else in play here? Like, they're looking for a good price. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to pick the winner, per se, but they're looking for a good price. There's Justin Herbert. We had Jordan Love, but that took a hit last week. They lose in Cleveland. Maybe Prescott was interesting before the season, or Brock Purdy. There's an injury to Purdy. Mm-hmm. Prescott loses Lamb. They've lost 2 games. Daniels gets hurt.
Burrow's out.
Burrow's dead. So is there anybody else? And Sam picked the right name, I think. I think there is someone else that could win. Maybe there's more than one guy that could win that has not yet been mentioned here, and that's Jalen Hurts. He's like, he made a great, Sam is so good. He made a great point. He's like, how did they beat the Rams? Well, blocked field goal. Didn't hurt, but they did it through the air. Like, they came back in that game through the air, and he's a lock to score his rushing touchdowns, unless Desmond Watson has something to say about it this week. But, I mean, Hurts, I don't think he's criminally underrated. I don't think it's quite that. I definitely don't think he's overrated, though. And if they're going to win again, and they have to do it as most people predicted they would, with more passing volume this year, secondary is weaker. Is Barkley himself weaker? Like, there could be circumstances they didn't show up for the first 2 weeks, but they did on Sunday.
But if they still get great results, he'll get a lot of credit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like, there was a game where they got down 26-7, I think was the score at one point, Rams. Mm-hmm. And what do? He threw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, that's how they came back. And so that looks great on him. because now lately it had been they just don't need him to throw, and people tend to say, well, that's good because he's not great at it.
Right.
He's the Super Bowl MVP. He's been twice. There's a lot of narrative when it comes to MVP.
And he was incredible in the losing effort.
Yes.
He had an incredible game.
He had two great games in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Barkley didn't win them the Super Bowl. He was okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he wasn't amazing or anything in that game. They just killed him. Really, on defense, they killed him. So, I feel like Hurts was like plus 1,800. But Allen could win. Like, if they're going to run away, and let me just give you one more idea here. If they're going to run away with it, the Bills, we're not going to have the 17-0 conversation today. That was yesterday. It got weird. I'm not going there. Although if they did,
right,
he could maybe cruise to the award. There's Herbert. There's even Daniel Jones, maybe, or even Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. Probably not.
Get out of here with that.
Okay. Where it gets interesting.
Not Jones necessarily, but the running back. Forget it.
Fine. Jones won't win because of Taylor.
Probably right.
Herbert doesn't have that obstacle.
Right.
And even Cook wasn't that.
I kind of like Herbert as an idea. Because ascending, right? He's been on the scene, but has never really graduated to the top tier. And they're throwing more. And if they unseat Kansas City, win 13 games or something, and he throws for 4,500 yards or whatever, that'll get pretty compelling pretty fast, I think, for him.
Yep. I think he looks the part so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
They beat the Chiefs, they beat the Broncos, and the 3 division wins and the Raiders in between. They're not racking up huge points.
No.
But he looks great. So Herbert is in play. I think one more thing that could get interesting if the Bills do just sail through the season is McDermott. Because he's never been close to Coach of the Year. Maybe in his first year he was. I don't know. He's never won it.
Yeah.
And every year since Allen became Allen, McDermott's not even in the conversation for Coach of the Year, which you can debate. It's sort of strange that he's never even close to that award. Well, if they win all their games, or almost all their games,
right.
Maybe it's a year. And if it's not clear-cut somewhere else, who right now is the Coach of the Year?
I think that is the kind of year it takes for a guy like him. Reed has obviously accomplished more with the Super Bowls, but for Reed to win Coach of the Year, they almost have to have last year, but with no blemish at all. You got to run the table because you're granted the advantage of having this incredible otherworldly quarterback on your team, and so that's going to ding the coach. It just is how it works. But if you put up a 0 in the loss column, that changes everything. I think 15-2, 16-1, 17-0 are records that I think you can entertain Sean McDermott for Coach of the Year with. I think anything less than that it's the same old, same old.
Right now, Steichen is the Coach of the Year.
That's right.
The Coach of the Year is usually a coach who we thought
coming.
Their team was going to be bad and they're actually good. Or McDonald in Seattle, although they do have a loss. I think those are top 2 right now.
I haven't looked at the odds, but I would agree with that assessment.
I don't know the odds. Don't tell me the odds.
I don't want to know.
Actually, do always tell me the odds. I'm not betting on this until you tell me. The Sabres play at home to Columbus tonight. We'll have pregame with Paul Hamilton coming up in less than 20 minutes. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
close to the same. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a couple of grown men talking about how they try to talk to and are convinced that their dogs are listening to them and mimicking them, talking to their dogs.
I kind of think my dog barks her name, but I haven't found anybody yet that agrees with me. To me, I'm hearing her name there.
Which is Earl, which is weird because that doesn't sound anything like Earl.
No, right. That's not her name. But, yeah, the show's been, I think, nice today. I've even liked Off the Air more. You didn't get here early enough to hear me sing the Mary Tyler Moore Show theme today. But I did do that.
Right.
As the pre-show ever sounded better.
I dropped a little nugget on Mike that I found very interesting. Yesterday, a gentleman by the name of Sonny Curtis passed away. And it's not a name that I was really familiar with at all, but I'm a huge Clash fan, and this is the man who wrote the song I Fought the Law, which is a very famous song that was originally made famous by a band called the Bobby Fuller Four. That's all I ever knew about it, other than that the Clash covered it then in the 70s, is that the Bobby Fuller Four recorded and made famous I Fought the Law. I never knew who the songwriter was. It turns out it was this man, Sonny Curtis, who was an original member of Buddy Holly and the Crickets, like so original that before Buddy Holly got famous, he was one of Buddy's sidemen, but had left by the time they became famous and when Buddy Holly passed away. Anyway, Sonny Curtis, in addition to having this tangential relationship to the Clash, my favorite band of all time, also wrote the Mary Tyler Moore theme song and sang it on the show. Like that was him singing that song on the show. All those, it's like one of the, well, I mean, has the show ever sounded older? It's the Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's one of my favorite TV show theme songs ever. And the same guy who wrote this legendary song, I Fought the Law, also wrote this legendary TV theme. And I had no idea. Sonny Curtis passed away at 88.
It's amazing.
Yesterday. Yeah, I thought so. I don't even know. I think it came up because an obit for him came up in my Twitter feed when I got here and reminded me of it. I had wanted in a small spot yesterday to mention it, but it just never came up, or I never thought of it when I had a chance to say it. Anyway, so here we are. Yeah, so R.I.P. to Sonny Curtis. He wrote a number of other pretty famous songs, too, that you might know, but those two, I think, are the most easily identified.
Open Arms?
That is not on the list that as far as I
just throwing out one guess. Right. It could be anything, right? Mary Tyler Moore, the Crickets, I Fought the Law. It could be anything here.
Right.
Enter Sandman. Right. Could be anything here. I did like a whole verse of that song singing in here before we started.
You did.
You needed to be here early, everybody. Sorry, that was. We'll put it on the.
We'll start streaming the meetings for club members for the bullpen.
They'll edit it in post and put it on. G will put it on there if he has it. I hope he doesn't, actually. I don't want to hear myself saying, you did it once and it's been played back 100 times.
Right. You did a great job singing that time that you had to sing.
Loved it.
Yeah.
You mean on the air?
On the air, yeah.
When I did it, yeah.
When you, right. Yeah,
Wichita Lineman.
Yeah, right. That was.
Did this guy write that?
Scored very highly. No.
He must have ties to Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell did record one of his songs. I don't remember which one.
Boom.
It's not. I saw the title of it. It wasn't one that I recognized as a song everyone would know as a Glenn Campbell song.
He wrote More Than I Can Say. Leo Sayer.
Okay, right. That was another big one. Yeah,
I'm not singing that to anybody. In the car, maybe.
That's at a.
But now the car can hear me.
I think that's at an octave that I don't want to hear you try to get to.
Yeah. I shouldn't have even.
Don't
attempted it. I had to try.
Don't do that.
But
anymore.
no, I won't do that again. The car can hear me though, so I'm not going to sing in the car anymore. I'm not going to speak in the car because I feel like that'll show up on my app tomorrow.
Or another,
like,
right?
You said this word. All right, Sonny Curtis.
Yep.
Never heard the name that I remember, but I love knowing about him. Will we ever talk about the Saints? I'm off tomorrow. It's been 2 days. The Bills didn't even play Sunday. Will we get to the Saints this week?
I'm going to talk about the Saints tomorrow.
The hockey games don't help, but still, you'll get to the. You promise you'll get to the Saints.
We have a guest at 4:00 to talk about the Saints.
Find out about
a noted big Saints fan, not even like media that covers the Saints.
This is a guy I know,
Steve Bennett. Yeah.
So. Ask him how Chris Olave caught 10 passes for 50 yards like he's a tight end.
I'll put it on the list. Yes.
I'd like to know what that portends. Is that Chris Olave's role now? Also a Kamara trade. This team is so far down. I mean, every game's different, but
no.
The Saints are finally getting their just desserts, do I want here, for years of like trading up and renegotiating bad contracts.
Yep.
It's just trying to put off the bad days, just sort of. And I think maybe they've finally gotten there. I think maybe they've arrived.
They're soaking in it right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
At Seattle, at Buffalo. That is harsh. Well, we'll see what happens. The Sabres home to Columbus after beating the Blue Jackets on the road last night. We'll talk about tonight's game downtown next with Paul Hamilton, Mike Schopp, and the Bulldog WGR.
Pregame coming up next for the Buffalo Sabres. Preseason game number 2 at home tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Paul Hamilton will join the show coming up next to get us ready for tonight. Alex Lyon expected to get the start in net. The expectation for him, he'll go 2 periods, while Devin Levi will get the third. And then some news in the NFL. Giants making the switch at quarterback. Russell Wilson going to the bench. Rookie Jackson Dart, he'll get his first start Sunday at home against the LA Chargers. Some wide receiver injuries. Bucks' Mike Evans is going to miss the next few weeks with a hamstring, while Commanders' Terry McLaurin may not be able to go Sunday against Atlanta due to a quad injury. And then in baseball, it's the final week of the regular season. The Blue Jays hold a 2-game lead on the Yankees for the AL East. The Jays already clinched a playoff spot. They're going to host Boston tonight just after 7. Yankees also in action just after 7, hosting the White Sox. Yankees currently hold the top wildcard spot in the AL. The same cannot be said for the other New York team, the Mets. They are at Chicago tonight versus the Cubs, 7:40. Mets currently just outside of the playoffs. Cubs hold that top wildcard spot in the NL. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
All right, back-to-back preseason games for the Sabres as they host Columbus.
Man, the NHL schedule is relentless. Just back-to-back, bam, bam, bam.
When the schedule came out, the real one, that's the first thought I had. And this, I know, this is not an indication of that, the preseason. The preseason is always like this.
Right.
But I wonder how it'll feel. You're going to know that games are more compacted because of the Olympic break.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning to end on the calendar is no longer.
Right.
But there's a 2.5-week break in the middle. So I think it'll feel like by the time we get, well, at the latest, past football, it's going to feel like they're playing every night. I think they're going to have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday weeks.
Oh, let's just please have a season.
Paul Hamilton with us.
With that in mind.
A good season.
When it feels that they're playing every day, let's hope that the games really matter to us.
Paul, what do you think? Will the Sabres have a good year?
Well, Lindy Ruff had the same thinking that you're thinking right now when we talked about the Saturday scrimmage and the team just looked dead. Well, first of all, he's been really, really practicing them hard, both on and off the ice. And then before the scrimmage on Saturday, he ran a full practice. So he wanted them dead. He wanted them to have heavy legs. And when we talked about it afterwards, he said, look, during the regular season, that's the way it's going to be sometimes. It's just like that.
Just get used to it.
You can't just say, well, I guess we're not going to win that game. He goes, you got to find a way. You got to find a way to overcome it. You got to find a way, if you get caught on the ice and you're tired, to be able to be okay where you're not giving the puck away and wind up in your net. So he did that on purpose, so they had to basically play tired, which is what's going to happen through a lot of this season, and he realizes that.
Paul, we've got only about 2 minutes more for you here. What did you like last night?
I like that they played Lindy Ruff's way. Now, there are only 2 lines that were from the Sabres, so I'm kind of curious to watch the other guys play tonight, see if they're going to play the way Lindy Ruff wants to play. What is that? Guys around the net, winning battles. They scored 2 goals with screens, guys around the net. They were tough to play against. They battled hard. And, that's what I saw from the top Sabre guys that were dressed. And I'm going to be interested to see if we see that tonight. with the guys who we did not see last night.
Right, and we'll see a complement of NHL Sabres who did not play in this game last night here tonight, including Darlene and Tage Thompson. So that's really cool. And Columbus, you called it, Paul. They had some NHL guys in their lineup last night, like Fantilli, Ken Johnson, etc. And tonight it looks like a very AHL-y lineup for them as we look at our spotlighted matchup brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time.
Yeah, Ivan Fedotov, the goaltender, who they just traded for from the Philadelphia Flyers, he's here. I expect to see him in that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Paul, any questions for us?
No, I don't think I have time. We got to go.
You did so much work, Paul. All your interviews. Yes.
Thanks, Paul.
Take care, guys.
Why we're cutting this so short is we've got Lindy Ruff and then a lengthy one-on-one